गणेशाय नमः। सरस्वत्यै नमः। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। गणानां त्वा गणपतिगं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पत नः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम्। प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती। धीनामवित्रयवतु। गणेशाय नमः। सरस्वत्यै नमः। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। ॐ तच्छयोरावृणीमहे गातुं यज्ञपतये। दैवी स्वस्तिरस्तु नः। स्वस्तिर्मानुषेभ्यः। ऊर्ध्वं जिगातु भेषजम्। शन्नो अस्तु द्विपदे चतुष्पदे। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सहस्रशीर्षा पुरुषः सहस्राक्षः सहस्रपाट्। स भूमिं विश्वतो वृष्ट्वा अत्यतिष्ठद्दशाङ्गुलम्। पुरुष एवेदगुं सर्वं यद्भूतं यच्च भव्यम्। उदामृतत्वस्येषानः यदन्नेनातिरोहति। एतावानस्य महिमा अथोऽध्यायागश्च पूरुषः। पादोऽस्य विश्वाभूतानि त्रिपादस्यामृतं दिवि। त्रिपादोर्ध्वोदैत्पुरुषः पादोऽस्येहाभवात् पुनः। ततो विश्वं व्यक्रामत् शासनानशने अभि। तस्मात् विराड जायत। विराजो अधिपुरुषः स जातो अत्यरिच्यत। पश्चात् भूमिमतो पुरः यत्पुरुषेण हविषा देवा यज्ञमतन्वत। वसन्तो अस्यासीदाज्यम् ग्रीष्म इद्मः शरद्धविः। सप्तास्यासन् परिणयः त्रिसप्तः समिधः कृताः। देवाय यज्ञं तन्वानाः अभद्नन् पुरुषं पशुं। कैयज्ञं बर्हिषि प्रोक्षन् पुरुषं जातमग्रतः। तेन देवा अयजन्त साध्या ऋषयश्च ये। तस्माद्यज्ञात् सर्वहुतः सम्भृतं पृषदाज्यम्। पशुगस्तागश्चक्रे वायव्यान् आरण्यान् ग्राम्याश्च ये। तस्माद्यज्ञात् सर्वहुतः ऋचः सामानि जग्निरे। छन्दागुंसि जग्निरे तस्मात् यजुस्तस्मादजायत। तस्मादश्वा अजायन्त। ये केचो भयादतः गावो अजग्निरे तस्मात् जाता अजावयः यत्पुरुषं यदलुः कटिधा व्यकल्पयन् मुखं किमस्य कौ बाहु कावूरुपादावुच्येते ब्राह्मणोऽस्य मुखमासीत् बाहुराजन्यः कृतः ऊरु तदस्य यद्वैश्यः पद्भ्यां शूद्रो अजायत चन्द्रमा मनसो जातः चक्षुः सूर्यो अजायत मुखादिन्द्रश्चाग्निश्च प्राणाद्वायुरजायत नाभ्या आसीदन्तरिक्षम् शीर्ष्णोद्यौ समवर्तत पद्भ्यां भूमिर्दिशः श्रोत्रात् तथा लोकागम् अकल्पयन् वेदाहमेतं पुरुषं महान्तम् आदित्यवर्णं तमसस्तु पारे सर्वाणि रूपाणि विचित्य धीरः नामानि कृत्वाभिवदन्यतास्ते धाता पुरस्ताद्यमुदा जहार शक्रः प्रविद्वान् प्रदिशश्च तस्रः तमेवं विद्वान् अमृत इह भवति नान्यः पन्था अयनाय विद्यते यज्ञेन यज्ञमयजन्त देवाः तानि धर्माणि प्रथमान्यासन् ते हनाकं महिमानः सचन्ते यत्र पूर्वे साध्याः सन्ति देवाः अभ्यः सम्भूतः पृथिव्यैरसा च विश्वकर्मणः समवर्ततानि तस्य त्वष्टा विदधद्रूपमेति तत्पुरुषस्य विश्वमाजानमग्रे वेदाहमेतं पुरुषं महान्तम् आदित्यवर्णं तमसः परस्तात् तमेवं विद्वान् अमृत इह भवति नान्यः पन्था विद्यते यनाय प्रजापतिश्चरति गर्भे अन्तः अजायमानो बहुधा विजायते तस्य धीराः परिजानन्ति योनिम् मरीचीणां पदमिच्छन्ति वेदसः यो देवेभ्य आतपति यो देवानां पुरोहितः पूर्वो यो देवेभ्यो जातः नमो रुचाय ब्राह्मये रुचं ब्राह्मं जनयन्तः देवा अग्रे तदब्रुवन् यस्त्वैवं ब्राह्मणो विद्यात् तस्य देवा असन्वशे ह्रीश्चते लक्ष्मीश्च पत्न्यो अहोराश्रे पार्श्वे नक्षत्राणि रूपम् अश्विनौ यातम् इष्टं मनिषाणा अमुं मनिषाणा सर्वं मनिषाणा तच्चयोरावृणीमहे गातुं यज्ञाय गातुं यज्ञपतये दैवी स्वस्तिरस्तु नः स्वस्तिर्मानुषेभ्यः ऊर्ध्वं जिगातु भेषजम् शन्नो अस्तु द्विपदे शञ्चतुष्पदे ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्ताम् न्यायेन मार्गेण महीमहीषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यम् समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति।
लंबोदरा हे विनायका लंबोदरा हे विनायका दीनहरण गिरिजानंदना शंभु कुमारा कलुष विदूरा शंभु कुमारा कलुष विदूरा सिद्धि सदन हे गणनाथा सिद्धि सदन हे गणनाथा प्रणवाकारा पशुपति तनया प्रणवाकारा पशुपति तनया विघ्नहरण गिरिजानंदना विघ्नहरण गिरिजानंदना लंबोदरा हे विनायका विघ्नहरण गिरिजानंदना शंभु कुमारा कलुष विदूरा सिद्धि सदन हे
गिरिधारी लाल श्याम गोपाल,
गिरिधारी लाल श्याम गोपाल,
गिरिधारी लाल श्याम गोपाल,
गिरिधारी लाल श्याम गोपाल,
नटवर लाल मदन गोपाल, नटवर लाल मदन गोपाल, मधुरा नाता कृष्ण गोपाल,
मथुरा नाथा कृष्ण गोपाल,
मधुरा नाता कृष्ण गोपाल,
मथुरा नाथा कृष्ण गोपाल,
श्री मधुसूदन मुरली गोपाल,
श्री मधुसूदन मुरली गोपाल,
श्री मधुसूदन मुरली गोपाल,
श्री मधुसूदन मुरली गोपाल,
यशोदा के बाल नंद गोपाल, यशोदा के बाल नंद गोपाल, ईश्वराम्ब प्रिय साई गोपाल, ईश्वराम्ब प्रिय साई गोपाल, गिरिधारी लाल श्याम गोपाल, नटवर लाल मदन गोपाल, मधुरा नाथा कृष्ण गोपाल, श्री मधुसूदन मुरली गोपाल, यशोदा के बाल नंद गोपाल, ईश्वराम्ब प्रिय साई गोपाल, ईश्वराम्ब प्रिय साई गोपाल, गिरिधारी लाल श्याम गोपाल।
अम्ब परमेश्वरी अखिलांडेश्वरी,
अम्ब परमेश्वरी अखिलांडेश्वरी,
अम्ब परमेश्वरी अखिलांडेश्वरी,
आदि पराशक्ति पालय मां,
आदि पराशक्ति पालय मां,
आदि पराशक्ति पालय मां,
आदि पराशक्ति पालय मां,
श्री भुवनेश्वरी राजराजेश्वरी,
श्री भुवनेश्वरी
नारायणा जय जय विठ्ठला
बोलो नारायणा जय जय विठ्ठला
बोलो नारायणा जय जय विठ्ठला
बोलो नारायणा जय जय विठ्ठला
साई नारायणा रंग रंग 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 विठ्ठला
बोलो नारायणा जय जय विठ्ठला
बोलो नारायणा जय जय विठ्ठला
गोविंद विठ्ठला रघुमाई विठ्ठला
गोविंद विठ्ठला रघुमाई विठ्ठला
गोविंद विठ्ठला रघुमाई विठ्ठला
गोविंद विठ्ठला रघुमाई विठ्ठला
गोपाल विठ्ठला पांडुरंग विठ्ठला
गोपाल विठ्ठला पांडुरंग विठ्ठला
गोपाल विठ्ठला पांडुरंग विठ्ठला
गोपाल विठ्ठला पांडुरंग विठ्ठला
श्रीरंग विठ्ठला साईरंग विठ्ठला
विठ्ठला साई रंग विठ्ठला
श्रीरंग विठ्ठला साईरंग विठ्ठला
विठ्ठला साई रंग विठ्ठला
बोलो नारायणा जय जय विठ्ठला
बोलो नारायणा
साई नारायणा रंग रंग विठ्ठला
साई नारायणा रंग रंग विठ्ठला
बोलो नारायणा जय जय विठ्ठला
बोलो नारायणा
गोविंद विठ्ठला रघुमाई विठ्ठला
गोविंद विठ्ठला रघुमाई विठ्ठला
गोपाल विठ्ठला पांडुरंग विठ्ठला
गोपाल विठ्ठला पांडुरंग विठ्ठला
श्रीरंग विठ्ठला साईरंग विठ्ठला
श्रीरंग विठ्ठला साई रंग विठ्ठला
श्रीरंग विठ्ठला साईरंग विठ्ठला
विठ्ठला साई रंग विठ्ठला
बोलो नारायणा जय जय विठ्ठला भजन करू मनुवा गोविंद हरे
भजन करो मनवा गोविंद हरे
भजन करू मनुवा गोविंद हरे गोविंद मुरारी गोपाल मुरारी
गोविंद मुरारी गोपाल मुरारी
गोविंद मुरारी
जगदीश हरे जय हो
जगदीश हरे जय हो
अल्लाह यीशु नानक साई
यीशु नानक साई
अल्लाह यीशु नानक साई
यीशु नानक साई
अंतरयामी बुद्ध महावीर
अंतर्यामी बुद्ध महावीर
अंतरयामी बुद्ध महावीर
अंतर्यामी बुद्ध महावीर
सौराष्ट्र सर्वधर्म प्रिय जय हो जय हो जगदीश हरे जय हो जगदोधारा जय जय हो जगदीश हरे जय हो अल्लाह यीशु नानक साई अंतरयामी बुद्ध महावीर सौराष्ट्र सर्वधर्म प्रिय देवा शांति निवासा सत्य साई देवा जय हो जय हो जय हो जय जगदीश हरे जय हो
सर्वधर्म प्रिय देवा सर्वधर्म प्रिय देवा सत्य साई देवा सत्य साई देवा अल्लाह यीशु बुद्ध नानक अल्लाह यीशु बुद्ध नानक सौराष्ट्र महावीर तुम सौराष्ट्र महावीर तुम राम भी तुम कृष्ण भी तुम राम भी तुम कृष्ण भी तुम विश्व रूप तुम विश्व रूप तुम साई विश्व रूप तुम साई विश्व रूप तुम सर्वधर्म प्रिय देवा सत्य साई देवा अल्लाह
प्रभु गिरिधारी गोविंद गोपाल हृदय बिहारी गोविंद गोपाल हृदय बिहारी गोविंद गोपाल प्रभु गिरिधारी नंद कुमार नवनीत चोर नंद कुमार नवनीत चोर हृदय विहारा बड़ा चित्त चोरा हृदय विहारा बड़ा चित्त चोरा गोविंद गोपाल प्रभु गिरिधारी गोविंद गोपाल हृदय विहारी गोविंद गोपाल हृदय विहारी गोविंद गोपाल हृदय विहारी गोविंद गोपाल प्रभु गिरिधारी नंद कुमार नवनीत चोरा नंद कुमार नवनीत चोरा हृदय विहारा बड़ा चित्त चोरा हृदय विहारा बड़ा चित्त चोरा गोविंद गोपाल प्रभु गिरिधारी
Om Shri Sairam. Multi-faith prayers. Request all the devotees to please join in. Seek prayer. एक ओंकार सतनाम कर्ता पुर निर्भो निर्वैर अकाल मूर्त अजूनी सेभम गुर प्रसाद जप आद सच जुगाद सच है भी सच नानक होसी भी सच।
I offer my humble pranams at the lotus feet of our dearest Swami, respected elders, brothers and sisters, Jai Sairam. It is now my privilege to introduce our esteemed guest speaker. We are delighted to welcome Dr. Shashank Shah for the Avatar Declaration Day special program at Mill Hill Sai Center. Brother Shashank is an alumnus of the Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, Prashanthi Nilayam. Between 2002 and 2010, he completed an MBA, MPhil, and PhD, and was blessed to receive 2 gold medals from the Divine Hands for outstanding academic performance in the MBA and MPhil programs. He also taught at the SSSIHL Business School between 2004 and 2014. Dr. Shah has been the J.N. Tata Scholar at Harvard Business School, Fellow and Project Director at Harvard University, South Asia Institute, Consulting Editor at Business India, Board Research Chair at the Institute of Risk Management, Faculty Chair at Larsen and Toubro, amongst many others. He was listed among the top 200 most influential global thought leaders 2021 by a Singapore-based magazine. He has delivered over 250 talks on diverse themes in over 50 cities globally, including TEDx and talks at Google. He is a national best-selling author with 3 highly acclaimed books to his credit. He has also published over 200 research papers and articles in national and international publications. He was the chief editor of the Publications Division of SSSIHL and has edited nearly 30 books on the divine life and message, including My Dear Students, Students with Sai, Conversations with Bhagavan, Man Management, amongst many others. He was blessed to speak in the immediate divine presence on 25 occasions at Prashanthi Nilayam, Brindavan, Kodaikanal and Chennai. Professionally, Dr. Shah serves as Senior Specialist Higher Education at Niti Aayog, the apex public policy think tank of the Government of India, chaired by the Prime Minister. Currently, he is pursuing the Chevening Gurukul Fellowship for Leadership and Excellence at the University of Oxford, awarded by the Government of the UK to high potential mid-career professionals. I now invite Brother Shashank to share with us his thoughts and experiences on the life and message of our beloved Swami, Sairam.
Om Shri Sairam. Offering our loving pranams at the Divine Lotus feet. It's been a very unique weather this morning. And as we were driving to the Samiti here, Brother Giridhar said, because you are from Mumbai, the clouds have opened up to give you a Mumbai-like monsoon experience. So thank you very much for this opportunity to come and share my thoughts with you on this auspicious occasion. This is my very first visit to the United Kingdom. I have passed through the Heathrow Airport on several layovers to Boston when I was at Harvard for about 4 years. But it was only last month when I actually moved out of the portals or the gates of the Heathrow Airport and entered the United Kingdom. So I'm quite new into this ecosystem, and it's been an eventful 1 month. And I had the opportunity of visiting several parts of the country as a part of the fellowship that I'm here on. Today's session is primarily focused on 2 auspicious occasions. One is the Avatar Declaration Day, and also the ongoing Diwali celebrations. So it's the twin opportunity to reflect on the divine life and the message, and how we can make our lives truly divine and in accordance with his message. So let's go back 82 years in this very week when young Satya was heading to school, and he had very joyfully placed on his button strip a golden pin that was gifted to him by one of his well-wishers, devotees from Hampi, when he had visited the Virupaksha temple in the previous week as a token of gratitude, of appreciation. And he had worn that as a special gift from this particular devotee, and he was heading to school. And as he was heading to school, suddenly in the speed and the movement of the journey, he realized that the pin was no longer there. And at that particular point in time, suddenly he changed his direction from school, came back home, threw his books. His sister-in-law was at home, his elder brother, Seshamaraju's wife. He threw the books and then declared, "I'm no longer your Satya. My devotees are calling. I am leaving." Now, the young sister-in-law that just delivered a child in the previous year was taken aback. Imagine a 14-year-old making such a declaration. Young Satya left that particular home where he was staying and went to the garden of Sri Anjaneyulu, a government officer who lived just in the neighborhood. He sat there and gave us that famous bhajan, which we sing with a lot of reverence even today. Manas bhajare guru charanam dustara bhavasagar taranam. This particular occasion marks the beginning, technically marks the beginning, as we see here, the history of Great Britain in the walls of this school in the background. It marks a landmark in the history of the avataric life. Does it mean that his mission began on that particular day? No. Does it mean that he suddenly realized that he is the avatar who has come for a particular mission? No. It probably marks a very important transition in his life. The transition from his worldly family to the transition of having the world as his family. I think this is the most important message of the Avatar Declaration Day, which each one of us have to imbibe. To transition from our worldly family to considering the world as our family. And thereafter began the very momentous journey of Swami's life. If we look back at our own journey from the age 14 to where we are today, in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, our desires still cling on to our worldly family. In fact, all of us, when we went to Bhagavan, we always prayed, "Swami, my daughter's marriage. Swami, my son's promotion. Swami, my grandson's education." Every time it was all about our worldly relationships, because our identity is limited to that particular set of relationships which we consider as our own and as the only raison d'etre or the purpose of our existence. But the Avatar Declaration Day reminds us of Swami's resolve that no, my worldly relationships, the duties and the responsibilities and the joys and sorrows associated with them have today concluded, because I have a much bigger mission for which I have come. And I think that applies to each one of us. We all have come for a very important mission. That mission is not alone of Swami, it is our mission. And that mission is to consider humanity as our very family. And in the subsequent 6 decades plus of his life, what a brilliant example Bhagavan set before us in his own life, his actions, his thoughts, his words, his deeds. I did a rough calculation and I came to the conclusion that Swami had given 100,000 interviews, personal interviews in his physical lifetime. 100,000, 1 lakh. And effectively, personally met 2 million people one-on-one during those interviews. Now, if we imagine what kind of a commitment that is in order to touch so many lives personally. And in each of those interviews, the conversation used to be more or less similar. The conversation about praying for fulfillment of personal desires and requesting for grace and blessings for worldly benefits. And Bhagavan would keep on saying, I give you what you want so that one day you will ask for that which I have come to give, liberation itself. He always used to chide, why do you come to the Kalpavriksha and ask for coffee powder? Coffee powder is available in the grocery store. Go to the grocery store and ask for coffee powder. Meaning, why do you come to divinity and ask for mundane things which are available in the world? Go to the world and ask for them. The world will give you in abundance. Come to the Kalpavriksha and ask for a very precious gift. Ask for the Vriksha itself. Come to divinity and ask for divinity himself, because only divinity can give you of himself. Nobody else and nowhere else can you get of that divinity. So that's a very, very important lesson which we have to learn. I'll share an experience of Swami with one of the Vice Chancellors, the third Vice Chancellor of Sri Satyasai Institute of Higher Learning, our alma mater, Professor Sampath, a very renowned scientist who was also the director of the esteemed Indian Institute of Technology. And on one of the occasions, Swami was very upset with the students. And Swami had stopped talking to them. Swami's style of punishment was to withdraw, because that was the most difficult thing to handle. When he would move away, he would reduce the access to his physical form. So he had stopped talking and interacting with students for long days. And the students were literally pining for that smile, for that word, for that look. And he wouldn't relent because he was very upset with some disciplinary issue. So the Vice Chancellor took up the matter with Swami and said, Swami, after all, they are students, the age, the stage in life, you should forgive them. And Swami looked at him sternly and he said, Sampath, do you know what I expect of them? And then Professor Sampath was a wise man. He knew that Swami had some very important message to give. Swami said, do you know what I expect of them? Then he pointed at himself, I want each one of them to be like. He pointed the finger to himself and he said, I want each one of them to be like me. Being like me does not mean wearing an orange robe and having a mop of black hair. Being like me means being full of love and selflessness from top to toe. That is my expectation of each of my students and devotees. But they're whiling away their time and wasting this precious gift of human life in petty stuff and being indisciplined, and that's why I'm upset with them. Please tell them what my expectations are, and then they will understand why I'm so hurt that they are not living up to my expectations. We can imagine the kind of standard Swami has set for all of us. He wants nothing less than we being divinity itself, because that is ultimately the purpose of human life, to realize our own divine nature. It is not about fulfillment of petty desires for the body and mind, which ultimately has to be left behind. It is about realizing the true power behind the body and mind, which is the very soul, which is verily the facet of divinity. And what is selflessness? There's a very interesting story here, which I thought I will share, of how selflessness was displayed by Swami in his everyday life, because we get irritated, we get upset for the smallest of things. When Swami was getting into the car from Prashantilam Mandir, this way back in the 80s, and the Sevadal usually had the opportunity, who was on duty, to close the door of Swami's car. So Swami was blessing everybody and getting into the car and leaving the mandir, and then the Sevadal closed the door, and then the car moved ahead, went through the roads of Prashantilam, Puttaparthi village, and moved out. And then as it crossed the boundaries where there were not too many people around or there was nobody around, Swami told the driver, wait. And the driver stopped the car. And then suddenly Swami opened the door. And the driver looked behind and he saw that actually Swami's little finger had got stuck in the car's door because the Sevadal, in his enthusiasm, had closed the door even before Swami's foot had got into the car. And the driver said, Swami, why didn't you tell me that this had happened? I would have stopped the car immediately that time. Why did you have to wait all this while till the car reached the outer limit of the Puttaparthi village? Swami said, Bangaru, if the Sevadal, if I would have told you to stop the car, then the Sevadal would have known what happened. If the Sevadal would have known what happened, for the rest of his life, he would have never forgiven himself that he had caused such quote-unquote physical pain to my form, and he would never have forgiven himself for that particular mistake. But his intention was to not lose that one single opportunity of closing the door of my car, which he got because he was on Sevadal duty. How could I have deprived him of that satisfaction and joy for the rest of his life? Now, this is what selflessness is all about. Thinking of others before us at every possible occasion. While the avataric standards are superlative, we definitely can take baby steps. And I think the biggest message of the Avatar Declaration Day is to understand this importance of giving and forgiving. But we are always in the mode of getting and forgetting. And that is the transition that Bhagavan always underscored that we need to undertake. I'll now segue into the message that Swami gave on that particular day. I spoke about the relevance of Avatar Declaration Day for each one of us. But there is a very important message in the bhajan that we all sing with so much of joy. The bhajan is Manas Bhajare Guru Charanam Dustara Bhavasagar Taranam. Now, there is a very secret message which is coded in this bhajan itself. This bhajan has 4 sub-sentences. And the message of our life is there in this bhajan. Because it's not by some random coincidence that this was the very first bhajan that Swami sang. So the message of this bhajan can be understood when we reverse the order of the bhajan. Manas bhajare guru charanam dustara bhavasagar taranam. So the first step is bhavasagara. First we need to understand that we are in a bhavasagara. What is the meaning of bhavasagara? Bhavasagara means this unending journey of birth and death and rebirth and death and rebirth and death and all the 4 Indic religions. Hinduism or Sanatana Dharma, which of course is not a religion, it's a way of life with its 12 philosophies from Charuvaka at one end to Vedanta at the other, and all the remaining in between are various facets of the Sanatana Dharma, or Jainism, or Buddhism, or Sikhism. All of them have this one particular set of principles in common, which is the concept of karma and its corollary of rebirth. So first we have to understand that we are in a bhavasagara, that we have been coming again and again and again, because that is why Bhagavan had very often said that the human life is most precious. Of the 84 lakh or 8.4 million species that have been created by divinity, and this is a number which has been given thousands of years ago in the Indian scriptures, the science number comes around the same, a few 100,000 here or there, in terms of the number of species that exist. But what I'm saying is that amongst all of these, 83,99,999 on one side and human birth on the other. That is the kind of importance that the human birth has, because a dog born will die as a dog. A cow born will die as a cow. A lion born will die as a lion, and an elephant born will die as an elephant. Only the human being has the opportunity to be born as a human and to die with the realization that he or she is divine. That is the most unique opportunity conferred on this particular species called the human species. But we've been coming again and again and again, and that's what Adi Shankaracharya had mentioned in the Viveka Chudamani, that it takes almost 1 crore well-lived lives in order to achieve the supreme goal. Can we imagine how much prone we are to faltering again and again and again, and waiting and waiting and waiting for petty stuff and not going cut to chase, straight to the purpose for which we are born? That is the most important role that the Guru comes into our life for. So, first we need to understand that we are in a Bhavasagara. The second part is this: we have to resolve on Taranam, or getting out of this rut or this cycle of birth and death, birth and death, birth and death. In the same Viveka Chudamani, and Swami used to mention this often in his discourses as well, Sri Adi Shankaracharya has mentioned, Durlabham trayamevaitat devanugraha hetukam manushyatvam mumukshatvam mahapurusha samshraya. 3 things in life are the rarest and are achieved only by divine grace. A £1 million salary, a huge villa to live in, and fantastic BMW or Mercedes car. That is what we usually presume are indicators of divine grace. No. The 3 things Adi Shankaracharya has said is Manushyatvam, human birth. And I mentioned to you why human birth is so precious, because it is the gateway to liberation. Mumukshatvam, desire for higher life, desire for liberation, is the rarest of gifts that can be conferred and are possible only by divine grace. To come here at 9 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, every Sunday, irrespective of the weather outside, indicates the kind of commitment that each one of you have in order to progress in that spiritual journey. And Mahapurusha Samshraya, the proximity of the Guru, the proximity of a Purushottama, of a divine entity in your life. If you have these 3, you are absolutely blessed by God's grace. This I am not saying. This Sri Adi Shankaracharya has said 1,500 years ago in that great scripture called Vivek Chudamani, which is a must read. Please do read. It was there in our library at Swami's University as well. So if we are clear that we want to be progressing in the path of spirituality, the first step is to understand that we are in this cycle of birth and death. The second step is to resolve that we want to rise above this cycle of birth and death. And then what do? We seek the Guru. We reach out to the Guru. And in our case, we are so blessed that we have not only realized that we are in this particular cycle, not only have we resolved that we want to cross over it, not only have we reached the Guru, but the Guru himself has reached out to us. Because it is said, those who choose God are in reality chosen by God. No act of divine proximity is an act of good luck. It is an act of a lot of self-effort and divine grace of several lifetimes. So the third step is Guru Charanam, reach out to seek the feet of the Guru. But the Guru will only show the path. We have to walk the path. We are so used to shortcuts that we want him to walk the path also. He can do this much also. And then we'll take Vivekananda's example when Ramakrishna patted his head, or when Yukteswar Giri patted on Paramahamsa Yogananda's head and they got that brilliant experience. Why not Swami just keep patting all our heads and we are done with it? So easy. This is the age of cell phones. You just tap and that's it. All the knowledge at the fingertips. All the bombs also at the fingertips. But that doesn't work. Because for that pat to happen, there are lifetimes of efforts. For the field to be fertile enough that if tree grows there, the soil has to be nurtured for years together. Then only when the seed is sown will it germinate and a sweet fruit-bearing tree will grow there. It's a very nice Chinnakatha that Swami had given on 14th of October 1995. there was this particular disciple, like all of us, who had gone to a guru, and his desire was to attain liberation. So he went to the guru and said, please give me the mantra, the sadhana, the spiritual practice in order to achieve liberation. So the guru said, yes, definitely. You do these prerequisite stuff and come a month later. He came month later. The guru was in his ashram. He was asked to sit outside. He was sitting outside. As he was sitting outside, the Sevadal there were cleaning the ashram grounds. And some dust particles, some soil particles fell onto this particular gentleman's clothes. And he got up in a fit of rage and he shouted, what are you doing? Can't you see I've worn white clothes? Don't you have the discipline to sweep the ashram grounds well? Sat down. Again waited for the guru. The guru came out. He said, Swamiji, I have completed the sadhana that you have given me. Please give me the secret to spiritual realization. The guru said, no, you are a dog. At the slightest of provocation, you just started barking 5 minutes back. I saw from the window of my room. You are not yet fit to get that ultimate. Go back. Do this sadhana for 6 months. Make yourself eligible and then come back. This man put his head down, went back. This is exactly from the story Swami has given. He went back, came 6 months later. He was sitting there. The guru knew that this particular disciple is going to come on that particular day. So he told that particular lady that he'll be coming and sitting here, the Sevadal who was cleaning the ashram. You go, and this time you go and put a lot more soil on his clothes. So this lady said, he already shouted at me at last time, why do you want me? He said, no, I am telling you, please go and just pretend that you are brooming the place and go and put a lot more soil on his clothes. Lot of dust, lot of kachara, whatever you want to call it. So she did exactly as she was instructed. And this man, like, you can imagine, he looked at her with such anger from his eyes that in a fraction of a moment, he would just grab her and by her head and punish her in some form, whatever you may want to presume. But he controlled his anger somehow and sat down and waited for the guru. The guru came out, and this time the guru, he told the guru, Swamiji, I have done what you said for 6 months. At least I am eligible now for this particular mantra or sadhana for spiritual progress. The guru said, no, you have not. From a dog, now you have become a snake. Earlier you were barking and shouting at people, now you are hissing silently with your eyes. You are still not eligible. Please go back. 1 more year of sadhana is required. You go back, do this sadhana for 1 more year and then come back. Again a year later he came, and the guru had told this Sevadal, this particular person is going to come. This time go and pour dirty water on his clothes. This Sevadal was extremely worried. She said, no, I cannot do that. He said, no, you have to do it. You have no choice. So she went and did that when he came and sat. And this man then got up. And this time he folded his hands and said, Mother, I am so grateful to you that you have taught me the lesson of patience and tolerance. Please pour as much more water as you want to on me, because it no longer bothers me at all. And then the guru came from his inner chambers and said, yes, now you are eligible for the final lap of your spiritual journey. So reaching out to the guru is the penultimate step. The final step is actually making that progress. So bhajare here is to contemplate on the message of the guru and to live that message in every act of our particular life. That is the true reverence that we can show. In 2008, a group of devotees from Europe had come to present a cultural program before Bhagavan. I was there, sitting right there. And usually the students, after any program, would get over, they would shout and say, Swami, we love you. So Swami also used to always reciprocate. He would say, yes, yes, I also love you. I also love you. So these devotees from Europe, they, at the end of their program, they said, Swami, we love you. So Swami said, no, 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 no. Don't love me. Love my message. Love my message. So, loving him cannot be divorced from loving his message. Because that is what the true purpose of every avataric descent is. Every avatar, every prophet, every great soul who has come on a divine mission comes to give a message, because the receptacle in which that message is stored and communicated through is not permanent. But the message is permanent. And that is why thousands of years after the great avatars and prophets are no longer on this planet of dust, their message continues to reverberate in all the quarters of the globe and also resonate in the minds of each individual who wishes to practice the fundamentals of that particular message. So, the message of Manasa Bhajare Guru Charanam is a message of these 4 R's. The first R is realize that you are in the Bhavasagara. The second R is resolve that you want to cross this Bhavasagara. Enough of this. I'm fed up, genuinely fed up. And that will come only after a lot of reflection, probably. That's why we are all here. And the third R is reach. Once you want to get out of something, you want the solution. So the third R is reach. Reach whom? Reach the Guru. And when it is said, when your time is ripe, the Guru arrives on the stage. And the fourth R is revere. After having received the Guru and his benediction, revere his message by practicing it. So these are the 4 R's of the message of the Avatar Declaration Day. Realize, resolve, reach, and revere. And if we internalize these 4 R's in our lives, then we may still achieve everything worldly. We may still have the things, as I said, a £1 million salary and a beautiful villa and great cars and great families and great friends and great professional success and everything. And yet in our inner scheme of things, those things will no longer enamor us. Those will become a means to an end. The end being considering the world as our family and constantly thinking how I can do good to others. That is why the Rig Vedic dictum, Atmano Mokshartham Jagat Hitaya Cha. Those are the twin goals, the twin mission statements that each one of us have. One is to continuously work towards our emancipation. The second is to continuously contribute to the well-being of others. Because these two have to go hand in hand. We cannot contribute to the well-being of others without making ourselves strong and capable spiritually. Contributing to the well-being of others is not a means to get worldly boons. That's another problem. We do good to others so that God will fulfill my secret desires. We do others so that I can use that as a bargaining power. You know, I did so much of service. At least now be little compassionate, be little gracious on me. No. This spiritual well-being of the individual or the spiritual maturity of the individual is a prerequisite to understand that the service to others is for my own spiritual well-being. Because the world is my family, and just as a mother or a father takes care of the family as his own responsibility and does not expect wages or returns for whatever he or she does. Similarly, whatever I do for others is because it is my own family and not because I am better off and the other person is worse off and hence I am doing a favor. And at the same time, it is not enough to be spiritually prudent and progressing and not tangibilizing that spiritual well-being by serving others. So both of these have to be going hand in hand. Spiritual well-being, Atmano Mokshartham, becoming more and more spiritually matured, Jagat Hitaya Cha, contributing to the well-being of others. The second part of my talk, because earlier I was told that it's going to be 20 minutes, and then I was told that it's going to be 1 hour. So I split it into 2 themes. The first, of course, was Avatar Declaration Day. And the second theme, I thought, is the theme which we should all then, as to how this objective of Atmano Mokshartham Jagat Hitaya Cha can be achieved. I thought I'll dwell in that in a little greater depth, based on 4 words that Bhagavan has himself given on several occasions. And these 4 words capture the journey of the individual to the Supreme. So the very first word in this particular journey that we undertake, after having realized that we want to move from just being committed to our worldly family to considering and realizing the world as a family, is the word karma. Everything effectively is because of this particular principle, as I just shared a little while ago. We usually distinguish between good and bad, and we continuously want to tell him or it or her or whichever way, usually in this age of equality of genders in such a pronounced way, I always try and make it a point that when I say God as him, it is not him, actually it is it. But if I say it will be confusing, and so we continue to say him, but he's neither him nor her, because that principle is beyond any kind of physical gender which we ascribe to. But I'll continue to say him because in our case we refer to Bhagavan, but it also refers to divinity itself. So that particular aspect of karma is like the game of cricket. We continue to hit the shots. In this country, cricket is a popular sport. It has been transported to India during the colonial years, so it's a very, very popular sport in India, even more, and then we beat the masters at it now. We don't need to tell the umpire that I have hit a 6, I have hit a 4, I have got out, it's a wide, it's a no ball. The umpire's job is to continuously be careful of that particular set of rules and regulations. And our job is to continuously focus on hitting every ball with as much competence we have. That's exactly the journey of life. We don't need to worry about what the outcomes of the actions will be. We only need to focus on how well we should hit that particular shot. Because the umpire is all the time looking at how well the shot is hit and what are the kind of runs that you have got. That bank account system is constantly on. It's far more foolproof than the most advanced IT systems of any bank in this world. Because it doesn't manage you and me, it manages every single seen, unseen entity of this creation. So the philosophy of karma is the basis on which this entire journey, it's the algorithm on which this entire creation works. And karma is not different from divinity, it is divinity itself. Because it is a law that divinity has put in place for our own journey from nothing to everything. And hence it is not necessary to consider it as a constant requirement to remind that I have done this, so I should get it. When you have done it and the time is ripe, it will come to you. Again, when it doesn't happen, what do? We blame God. You are responsible for whatever is happening to me. I have invested so much faith in you, but what have you done to me? See my plight. Unfortunately and historically, devotees suffer the most. Every epic, every scripture conveys that. The greatest of devotees have put through the biggest of tests. But it is also the fastest of progressions if we look at it from a different point of view. Because the same speed and super fast speed, the journey is going to be very, very short and fast. So there's another reason why that may be happening. But Swami used to say, you cannot blame God because God is the postman. His only job is, do you blame the postman for the contents of the letter? We don't blame the postman. Here you don't meet the postman. But in India, we sometimes still meet the postman. If you open the letter in front of him, earlier the postman used to wait for you to even read the letter for you because some people couldn't read and write in India. And he used to share in the joys and sorrows of whatever are the contents of the letter. But can the person reading the letter suddenly slap the postman because the contents are sorrowful? Or does he give a special gift to the postman because the contents are great? No, because the postman is not responsible for the contents. Who is responsible for the contents of the letter? The recipient of the letter is responsible for the contents of the letter. The postman is only delivering the contents to you. So the objective of our understanding of the role of divinity is that the divinity is, there's one whole, in the Satyasai with Students blog, which I had initiated at Swami's university, there is an excerpt of a discourse. God is like a postman. You can just type that on Google, type Swami's name, and the whole discourse will appear. He said, but in that, Swami said, the caveat is, while the postman cannot change the contents of the letter, God, if you are serious, sincere in your sadhana, can slightly modify the contents of the letter to help you progress spiritually. But it's very important to understand that this particular journey of life begins with the principle of karma. It's a very nice story. You may have heard of this. Srimati Geeta Mohan Ram had narrated several times. And Swami used to play on the sands of Chitravati. It was the passing the parcel game. Have you heard that story? No. Okay, so for the benefit of the youngsters, I will share that. So when Swami used to play on the Chitravati riverbed with the kids, the passing the parcel game, we know how it is. You pass the parcel or the pillow or whatever it is. Swami had a unique way. They used to take a glass or a cup or a mug, and in that, write with his own hands some virtues and some vices: compassion, truth, righteousness, peace, love, anger, hatred, jealousy, etc. Put it in that. And then that dabba used to go around. Dabba is the cup or whatever you call it. And he used to sit in the center and sing bhajans. And suddenly he'll stop singing bhajans, and whoever has that cup in his hand is to pull out one particular chit. If that chit had a virtue, that person would move out of that particular game and sit in the center with Swami and sing bhajans. And if it had a vice, you would continue there and the game would go on till a point in time that he again gets a chance or she again gets a chance and pulls out a piece of paper, and if it has a virtue instead of a vice, then he comes out of it, she comes out of it and sits in the center. And after playing that game full of joy, everybody waiting for a chance to bring that virtuous chit out of that cup, Swami would tell them, did you know what we did just now? We played the game of life. This is how life is. You go round and round and round waiting for a human birth every time. When you get a human birth, the pulling out of a chit is actually the way you have lived your life, whether it is virtuous or full of vices. If you cultivate even one virtue in your life and abide by it with all commitment, you break yourself from the shackles of birth and death and come and join me in the center of this journey of life and sing the glory of divinity along with me. But if you're not able to cultivate even that single virtue, then you go round and round till such point in time that you again get an opportunity and again get a chance to choose between a virtuous life and not, and see whether you want to break this or not. So this whole journey happens again and again and again. And it's very important here, I'd like to highlight, Shadi Shankaracharya used to often, in the Bhajagovindan, Swami used to quote that, Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam. You're born again and again, you die again and again, you rent the womb of the mother again and again for 9 months. It's a very pertinent observation. Why is this point of janani jathare shayanam? Jathara means stomach or the womb. Janani means mother. Shayanam means sleeping. For 9 months, every time I'm born, I'm sleeping in the womb of the mother. Why did Adi Shankaracharya have to mention that? Why was Swami quoting that? To communicate the importance of mother in our life. To rent the womb of the mother for 9 months involves committing a lifetime of gratitude and service to that soul who has nurtured you through her blood and milk for those formative years of your life. That gratitude can never be repaid unless we are committed for a lifetime. Not on Mother's Day alone, not on Thanksgiving alone. For a lifetime, that gratitude needs to be repaid. And how many mothers' wombs I have rented over so many lifetimes? How many lifetimes I have had to live in order to repay that debt of gratitude to my mother? How much more do I have to do, O Lord? And hence you please liberate me of this cycle again and again. In this particular verse, there is a double message. The message of the importance of rebirth and rising above it, but also the message of the importance of gratitude to one's mother and the kind of selfless service that we need to render to her righteous desires. And that's what Swami showed in his lifetime. The righteous desires of Mother Ishwaramma about education, about health care, about drinking water. He said, I have not done this because I wanted to do it. I have done it because it was my mother's desire for the well-being of humanity. So it is our job to ensure that in exchange for her giving us birth, giving us accommodation for 9 months, and nurturing us in our formative years, we should be committed to fulfill her righteous desires, because that is a debt which we owe to the mother. And the next step from karma is janma. Because of karma, we are born. Because there is account balance, we have to withdraw. They'll call you, you have account balance, please. The system of karma can be explained with the banking system. The money in the account is sanchita karma, accumulated balance of your good and bad karma over lifetime. Accumulated savings, money, all in the bank account. That is your sanchita karma. Prarabdha karma is the money that we withdraw on a particular day. You go to the bank, you withdraw money on that particular day. It is from what you have already stored there. It's your own money. You have pulled out. Prarabdha karma, the karma that we go through in this particular lifetime, is like the money you have withdrawn from the bank account for a particular day. After having withdrawn, you have to end up spending it. After having got this name, form, talent, ability, etc., you have to utilize it. How you utilize it determines the third kind of karma, which is agami karma. The reactions of whatever you do in this particular lifetime. You use that money for gambling, you will get huge losses. You use that money to invest, you will get returns. You spend off that money is gone. If you invest it well, whatever returns come goes back to the bank account. Similarly, agami karma is the reaction of all that we do with the opportunities that we have. And so on, this journey continues till a point in time when we rise above karma itself. When do we rise above karma itself? When we give up the sense of doership. The principle of karma is very simple. You give the address to who has done the karma, the results come to that address. Who did this karma? I did. I sang. I achieved. I donated. I celebrated. I worked hard. Okay. All the results are coming to the one who has claimed that he has done. I have done well. Okay, here's your reward. I pushed him. Okay, here's your punishment. I donated. Okay, here is your great reward. I consumed. Okay, here is your punishment. This is the kind of very, very simplistic algorithm by which it works. When does the karma reaction stop? When you stop giving the address. Who did it? He did it. Not by lip service. Had gone and complained to Swami that Swami, this boy follows no discipline in the hostel. He's absolutely incorrigible. We should throw him out. Discipline in Swami's university and school is very high because discipline is the medium of instruction. See how Swami has, if we just dwell on each of his sentences, we will know the kind of importance he gives to each of them. What Swami used to say, discipline is the medium of instruction in my university. Love, service and sadhana are the first, second and third languages. Discipline is the medium of instruction, meaning everything that we do in our spiritual journey, it has to be through the path of discipline. How do we express that discipline? Love, service and sadhana. First, second and third languages. You are using that love, devotion, service, selfless action, sadhana, the spiritual wisdom journey. It's basically capturing the essence of spirituality in that one sentence about how his institutions operate. So Swami said, okay, you leave him to me. I will take care of that boy. So next day, that boy was sitting in the darshan line. He used to always try and get into the first seat, somehow try and attract Swami's attention. Very mischievous, very indisciplined. So Swami passed by that boy, then again looked back and said, if you knew what you were in your previous birth, you would not be doing what you are doing now. He just said that and he moved on. Very intrigued. This boy was so intrigued that that evening he would always escape the warden, but he went to the warden's office and asked him, sir, can you ask Swami what he meant by that statement? I want to know what I was in my previous birth. So the warden said, now the camel has come below the mountain. In Hindi, there's a saying, ab aaya oont pahad ke niche. which means finally the camel realizes that the mountain is taller than it. Otherwise, the camel always thinks in the desert that I am the tallest and everybody is below me. But when the mountain comes, the camel realizes, no, there is a higher structure than I am. There is more height than I possess. So the warden was intelligent. He said, why don't you only ask Swami what he meant by that? So he said, okay. Then he went back, wrote a letter, waited for the next day's opportunity to write to Swami. He again wrote that letter, took warden's permission. Can I go early? Again, sudden discipline came into him. Otherwise, he would break line, sit in the front line. He asked warden, can I sit in front? He said, yes, you can sit. Then he went and sat in the first line, and Swami came. Swami knew that the seed had been sown, so now there is going to be some germination. So Swami looked at him, Amy, what happened? Then he gave that letter and he said, Swami, yesterday you said that I was something in my previous life. Can you tell me please what I was? Swami said, yes. In your previous life, you were a great spiritual sadhaka. You were a great spiritual aspirant whose only desire was to be a contemporary of the avatar and benefit from that spiritual opportunity so that you can be done with your journey of life and death. After having worked so hard in your previous lives so that you can get this particular opportunity, you are whiling away that opportunity in frivolous pursuits. And that is why I told you yesterday, if you knew what you were in your previous birth, you would not be behaving the way you are behaving in this lifetime. That was the turning point in that boy's life. Because he was an intelligent businessman in the making, he knew that a lot of investment had gone back in the previous lifetimes. He could not afford to let go of that or waste it. He became the sincere, disciplined student that Swami wanted him to be. So this janma you should be, and that's why the corollary to that is very important for us to remember. In the olden times, it was said, if money is lost, nothing is lost. If health is lost, something is lost. But if character is lost, everything is lost. And that's why Swami would say the end of education is character. And then Swami would joke, in today's day and age, if character is lost, nothing is lost. If health is lost, something is lost. But if money is lost, everything is lost. That is how the priorities of all societies have turned upside down, irrespective of the religion. Because there is no religion in the world which has not highlighted the importance of character. Swami would say, if the mati is fine, which mata is bad? If your mind is in the right direction, is in the alignment with the fundamental value system, which religion is bad? Because no religion has ever preached negativity. No religion has ever highlighted the lower aspects of humanity. They've always focused on the well-being of all. May your kingdom as in heaven be on earth. That is similarly to say, samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Let there be peace and joy as it is in heaven, as it is in your realm. May it be in this realm as well, which is your realm. So that is the kind of message that Swami had constantly undertaken. So that this janma has to be then channelized. How do we channelize? Through third word, dharma. So because of karma, because of that bank balance and the withdrawal, you get janma. You say, okay, I don't want to withdraw. That option is not there. You have to withdraw money. Prakriti enforces that whatever has been accumulated by you will have to be spent by you only. You cannot bequeath it. This investment is only for self-serving purposes. So karma, then janma. Now after having withdrawn that money, how will you use it? What should be the way this life has to be lived? Dharma. Swami has given a very nice algorithm of how this dharmic life can and should be lived. What he has said, we all think that, oh, dharma is a very complex phenomena. What is dharma? How can I live a dharmic life? I have, somebody, in Prashant film, there was a joke. If somebody asks the other person, how is your sadhana progressing? Everybody used to be so busy in their mundane stuff, ashram duty, this, that, and oh, I have no time to die even. Where is the time to do the sadhana? So where is the time for me to practice dharma? I have no time to even die. That is the kind of busy schedules that I have to follow. Swami simplified, very simple. Don't die, don't worry. Sow a thought and reap an action. Sow an action, reap a tendency. Sow a tendency, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. You are the makers of your own destiny. And the journey of creating this destiny is not in anybody's hand, not even in divinity's hand, because the divinity is verily within you as the Atma. And that particular journey has to begin with sowing the right kind of thoughts. Because the thoughts determine actions. Actions determine tendencies. Tendencies will determine habits. Habits will determine character. And character will determine your destiny. You ask any psychologist, any neuroscientist, they will say, yes, what you keep doing again and again and again, the neuron pathways become stronger and stronger and stronger, and that becomes your reflex action. That is the way you will react. So every time you indulge in a particular thought, we have to be extremely careful on the way we live by that. And for that, what we should do, Swami had given one word, self-confidence. Swami used to always say, self-confidence is very important. What is the meaning of self-confidence? Two kinds of self-confidence, capital S and small s. The small s, self-confidence, means your own abilities. You should be confident of yourself. In one of the Trai Brindavan sessions, Swami used to say, why should you feel scared to do good things? The one who is doing wrong things should feel scared. The one who is on the wrong path should feel scared. Why should you feel scared? This was in the context of children or youth hesitating to sing bhajans when they go home, or not applying vibhuti, or not trying to discuss topics connected with human values because, oh, what will others think? Swami used to say, why should you be worried when you are on the right path? That confidence should drive the way you live your life. That S, small s, is confidence in self. And after you have done your best, you should have self-confidence, capital S, self, divinity. You should have that faith that after I have put my best, divinity will take care of the rest. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturbhu ma te sangosto karmani. This is the fundamental message of the Bhagavad Gita. What does it mean? Karmanyeva adhikaraste. We have right only over our actions. While the world keeps talking about result orientation, quarter on quarter returns, if the next quarter profits don't go up, Brother Giridhar has been in the finance field for long years. He's my senior from Swami's University. If the profits don't go up quarter and quarter, no company is going to spare you. That's the job of the financial markets. But that is the worldly way of doing things. In the spiritual realm, actions is what matters. How do we do that action is far more important than the outcome of that action, because of that outcome on that action is not determined on the action alone. There are several other unseen factors that determine the outcome of every action. That's why in business also you do scenario planning. If I do this, if this happens, then this. If that happens, then that. In our spiritual scheme of things, that is left to divinity, because there are so many unseen factors which you cannot even perceive. So you have a right only over action. You do not have right over results. So you do your action well. You sow your thoughts right. And that is why the individual journey for dharma is sow a thought, as I said. The cosmic journey or the collective journey is also in similar lines. When there is righteousness in character, there will be harmony in the home. When there is harmony in the home, there will be order in the nation. When there is order in the nation, there will be peace in the world. These are the fundamental algorithms of dharmic living. One at the individual level, one at the collective level. But at both levels, the journey begins with you. It is in nobody else's hand. It is purely in our hand. And for this, the role of abhyasa, practice. You'll say, yes, all this is very good to say. Very easy. One of our teachers, Mr. Rangaraj, Dr. Rangarajan, he was former warden of he was former director of the Brindavan campus and controller of examinations. He had shared this with us. In one of his interviews with Swami, he asked Swami, you tell all these things to us, very difficult to practice. How do we practice all these complex do's and don'ts of the spiritual life? Swami said, yes, very good question. I will give you the solution. Will you follow it? Yes, Swami. Swami said, everything in life is practice. Reading, practice. Writing, practice. Singing, practice. Dancing, practice. Dramatics, practice. Everything is practice. Similarly, you are aspiring for the highest grace of God itself. Practice. Practice, practice, practice every single day, every single opportunity. That is called abhyasa. In the Gita, it is called abhyasa yoga. You have to continuously be focused and practice if you want to progress, because it is all the game of the mind. It is the mind which is creating the problems. So it is the mind which has to be trained. For all that purpose, these solutions are given for the mind to go into the particular direction and achieve its particular journey. And that is why abhyasa. And for abhyasa to get the right kind of intensity, very important, good company, satsanga. Satsangatve nissangatvam. Nissangatve nirmohatvam. Nirmohatve nischala tattvam. Nischala tattve jivan muktim. And that's why again and again and again Swami used to say, Tyajadurjana samsargam. You give up bad company. Oh, so you're being judgmental that everybody else is bad and I am good and I will give up their bad company. No, that bad company is not in people. It is in the thoughts. It is in your own thoughts. That durjana samsargam is your own bad thoughts who are continuously haunting us. Because 95% of the time you are in the company of your own thoughts. How long do we spend time in the Samiti? 2 hours a week. How much time do we spend in Seva? Another 2 hours a week. But the remaining time we spend time with ourselves. And that is where the problems start. So that durjana, that bad thoughts, that negativities, they are our constant companions. They have to be shunned. This was the message which Sri Ramanujacharya, the propounder of Vishishtadvaita, had given in his last discourse, the importance of good company in spiritual journey. When you see worldly minded people, run away from them. When you see in between, neither this way nor that way, experimenting with things, be unaffected by them. And when you see devoted people, embrace them, consider them to be your very family, because that is the company which will take you through. Which means, if you get worldly-minded thoughts, worldly thoughts, run away from them. If you get dilly-dallying thoughts, be just an observer, don't be affected. The moment you get divine thoughts, embrace those thoughts, because they are your greatest well-wishers. That will create the right kind of bhavam. Intention is at the heart of every action. Action alone does not mean anything till the intention behind it is the purest. That is why the half-bitten fruits of Shabri were consumed by Rama. That is why Krishna used to go and steal the butter in the houses of the Gopikas. And that is why Buddha praised that lady who gave him that small pomegranate. That story is there in the Sanatana Samskruti Museum in Prashanti Nilayam. That lady had given a pomegranate to Buddha. I'll complete in 5 minutes. That lady had given that pomegranate to Buddha, and Buddha was praising her after she left. And the bhikshus along with Buddha said, the king was willing to offer you so much of gold for service and you rejected, and this lady gave you a pomegranate and you are praising her. What kind of sense of justice do you have? He said, do you know that pomegranate was the only food she had for her dinner? But she saw me and said, when again will I have the opportunity of giving something in charity to the enlightened one? Without a thought of what she will get for food, she gave that pomegranate to me. I am praising her intention behind the action, not the action itself. So that is the power of intention. We always go by what we see externally. We forget that the intention behind that action. That's why Swami used to say, I am not Bahya Priya. This drama that you do in front of me will not fool me. I am Bhava Priya. I can see your intentions behind whatever you do. So don't try to fool God. Duryodhana tried to do that. You know the famous story of Duryodhana and Arjuna going and asking for help. And what did Krishna do to Duryodhana? He made him a fool by alluring him with the power of the army and very intelligently going to the side of the Pandavas, which he would, because Pandavas are not Pandavas. It is very symbolic of dharma itself. And wherever there is dharma, there divinity will be. Wherever there is divinity, there is victory. Yatho dharma tato jaya. Because on the side of dharma, God will always be found. So that is very, very importantly the message of how dharma should be lived. And it is for that purpose alone that human life has been given. Sharira madhyam khalu dharma sadhana. The body has not been given for sense enjoyment. It is like saying that I am living this life because this kurta has its own desires. This dupatta has its own desires. This jacket has its own desires. So I will live my life to fulfill the desires of the dupatta, the jacket and the kurta. No. These are for me. I am not for them. This body is for me. I am not for the body. And the body has been given to me meaning the soul, the Atman, in order to go beyond this particular bondage. So you see, it's very important. The thorn has been given to you to remove the thorn, because only a thorn can remove the thorn. The thorn of the body, which is the cause of the problem, body-mind complex, has been given to you to remove the thorn of the body-mind complex. And when the thorn or the awareness or the intelligence removes the thorn of attachment, though both thorns do not have to be preserved, they both have to be thrown away because the job is over. And that's why Swami used to say, don't get too enticed into this particular kind of life here. This is like a dormitory. You live in a dormitory overnight, fulfill your responsibilities with your neighbors, probably share food, share some good experiences, knowing fully well that next morning you have to leave. Your fellow occupants will go in one direction, you will go into the other. This world is like that. Don't get too attached to it, because it has only a limited purpose to serve. The purpose is to remove one thorn with the other. And that is very, very important in our ultimate journey, because if we do not change our attitude towards the way life is, we are not going to be able to achieve the ultimate objective. What is the ultimate objective? Karma, bank account, janma, withdrawal, dharma, how you spend that money. The fourth stage, Swami has said, Brahman. Brahma, divinity itself. That is the ultimate destination, the ultimate end objective that you wish to achieve. Now, the moment the word Brahma or Atma comes, we all become very uncomfortable. Everything is fine, but this business, because in the Hindi language, Atma also means ghost. So for a long time, in the formative years, when the word Atma comes, people think, oh, you're talking about ghost stories. No, it's not about ghost. It is ultimately about what we truly are. What are we truly? When somebody dies, what do we say? So and so has passed away. And his body has been kept for last darshan, right? So and so has passed away. Body has been kept for last darshan. Which means so and so and the body are different. So and so has passed away, body has been kept for last darshan, which means the so and so was residing in the body. And now that so and so has exited the body. So they are different. Who is that so and so? Neelato yada madhyastha vidyullekhe bhaswara. In the Narayana Suktam, it is given between the 9th and 12th vertebral column. The blue shining light is what your true nature is, irrespective of who you are. A Brit or a Scot, a North Indian or a South Indian, an Australian or a New Zealand, an American or an African. It is the same blue shining light which your true identity is. And what is that blue shining light? In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Mamaivamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. It is a part of my eternal being which is present in this entire creation, seen and unseen. Which means that blue shining light is a spark of the supreme conflagration of divinity. Which means it is that divinity which is residing in each one of us. And it is that divinity which powers us, because Mr. So-and-so has passed away. The body is lying for last darshan. That body-mind complex is inert. It can be compared to the bulb and the filament. The body is the bulb. These are all examples from Swami's message. The body is the bulb. The mind is the filament. The Atma is the electric current. Without the electric current, the light will not come on. If the electric current is not there, very beautiful bulb, very nice filament, 60 watt, 80 watt, 100 watt, light won't come on. Without the Jivatma, this body mind has no existence. That's why it is offered to the elements. But when the bulb breaks and the filament also breaks, does that mean that the electric current is not? It is there. But the means to express it is not there. And that's why it said the Atma neither comes nor goes. The electricity has not gone. The ability of the bulb to accept that electricity and shine has been extinguished. So another bulb and filament is required. So this Atma Tattva, or the power which shines or which expresses itself through how we are behaving, is the observer. It is the witness, as we say, because it has, what is it? Sat Chit Ananda, being, awareness, bliss. If you pour water in red glass, it will be seen as red. If you pour it in blue glass, it will be seen as blue. You pour that water in Jesus, it will be divine. You pour that water in Judas, it will be conniving. You pour that water in Rama, it is divine. You pour that water in Ravana, it is demonic. All of them have the same blue light. The quantum of delusion or divinity is different. So much delusion in Ravana, so much divinity in Rama. Principle is the same. You have light in a pot. That pot has 9 holes. If you put a thin layer, the light will be seen very dimly. If you put a middle level layer, it will hardly be seen. You put a thick layer on it, it will not be seen at all. That exactly is what we are. That pot with 9 holes is this body. Earthen pot, earthen body, 9 holes we all have. The light shining is the soul within. What is this cloth? Level of ignorance. Less ignorance, more divine. More ignorance, less divine. So what is the way out? 3 paths. Mala, Vikshepa, Avarana. 3 problems of the mind. First problem, dirt accumulated over lifetimes. Over lifetimes, whatever we do. Swami gave a very nice example. It's there in My Dear Students. You take a laddu prasadam. Swami said, what happens when you take the laddu prasadam and put it in your pocket? There is a ghee mark here. To the students, he used to ask, what happens if you forget the laddu in your pocket after going to hostel? You took 2. One you ate. When you said you will eat afterwards going to hostel, you forgot. Next day morning, you realize, oh, laddu is in my pocket. What is the problem? Ghee mark. Similarly, every action leaves behind impressions in the mind. Millions of actions, millions of impressions. The chairman of ISRO had said the mental capacity is to store as much data is there on all of Facebook, in every individual mind. But what happens? Gigo. Garbage in, garbage out. Principle of information systems. You put garbage, you get garbage. We put garbage in, we'll get garbage in our actions, thoughts and words. So mala or negativity, a lot of it over lifetimes. So the mind is filled with that. So what do we have to do? Remove that. Chitta mala has to be removed. How do you remove? Chittasya shuddhaye karma. The cleaning of the chitta or the mind is through selfless actions. You do selfless actions, you don't want anything in exchange, slowly, slowly, it's washing powder. Cleaning, 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 cleaning. The white cloth which is dirty, dirt is removed. First step. So that is the path of karma. First problem of the mind, mala. Second problem, vikshepa. Vikshepa, unsteadiness. Jumping, one thought, another thought. Yesterday I did this, tomorrow what I want to do. When this brother will stop talking, I have to go do this assignment. I have to cook. I have to put laundry in washing machine. I have to go to that particular Tesco or Salisbury and buy stuff. Mind is jumping here, there, everywhere. This is vikshepa. Unsteadiness is the other problem of the mind. What is the solution to unsteadiness? Focus, steadiness. How does it come? Bhakti, devotion. Constant focus on divinity. That is what the objective of mind is to be trained in. Third, avarana. Already covered. What is avarana? That covering, that cloth, that level of delusion, ignorance. That is the problem. So when these 3 are addressed, how do you remove delusion? Through knowledge, wisdom, jnana. So karma, bhakti and jnana deal with the three problems of the mind, mala, vikshepa, avarana. When the mirror of the mind is clean, when it stops being shaky, and when the cloth which covers that mirror of the mind is removed, and when the direction of the mind is changed from pravritti or outward focus, which is the nature of the mind, to nivritti or inward focus, what happens? The light of the soul shines in that clean, steady, and clothless mirror. That is what is self-realization. The self does not have to realize the self. The mind, which is the problem, has to realize that it is verily the self. It is not different from the self. Then the mind realizes, oh, this is what I truly am. All of this is not me. You still then do whatever you do. Otherwise, you still eat. You still have to walk. You still have to sleep. Everything else has to be done. But you have absolutely understood who you truly are. That is Brahma. This is the fourfold steps of karma, janma, dharma, and Brahma. It is for achieving these 4 steps that this most precious human birth has been given. And it is by infinite grace alone that this kind of opportunity comes in our life over several lifetimes of effort. If lost now, we never know when it will come. That's why Swami used to say, make the most of this human birth. Make the most of this awareness and opportunity. Even I cannot give you the guarantee whether you will have these opportunities in another lifetime. Whether you will have good families. Whether you will have the right kind of ecosystem. Whether you will have the facilities where you will have time to focus on spirituality. Whether you will have this deep yearning for your own spiritual emancipation so you can break from this bondage and realize that you were actually never bound. You were deluded that you were bound. You were not in reality bound because you are beyond bondage. You are verily me. That's why in the last decade of his life, Swami had only one message. I and you are one. I and you are one. There is no difference between divinity and us. For that, the Avatar Declaration Day is a very, very important reminder. Let us use the festival of Diwali, which is the festival of lights, which is the remover of ignorance, which is the provider of wisdom, to remove the ignorance in our mind, to bring the light of wisdom in our life, so that we can practice and progress on the path of dharma and achieve the goal of Brahma. And that will be the true gratitude we can offer to our beloved Master. Jai Sairam.
Thank you so much, Brother Shashank, for sharing your experiences with us and for such an enlightening and insightful talk on our dear Lord's message, to transition from considering our worldly family to considering the world our family, to live selflessly and full of love and model ourselves in his image in the pursuit of dharma, to realize, resolve, reach, and revere the message of the Avatar Declaration Day, to understand how we can break free from the cycle of birth and death, from karma and janma to dharma and Brahma, and to understand that we should live our lives as his message and that he and we are one. We are all truly grateful to Swami for sending you to us today. And there is so much that we can take away from your words and apply to our lives. So thank you once again. Please can we have another hand?
Brindavan. सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय परमं पवित्रं बाबा विभूतिं परमं विचित्रं लीला विभूतिं परमं पवित्रं बाबा विभूतिं परमं विचित्रं लीला विभूतिं परमार्थ इष्टार्थ मोक्ष प्रदानं परमार्थ इष्टार्थ मोक्ष प्रदानं बाबा विभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि बाबा विभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि Sacred, holy and supreme is Baba's vibhuti. Pouring forth sacred streams display of vibhuti. So auspicious is its mind with transfiguration. Baba's vibhuti, its power protects me. Paramam pavitram Baba vibhutim Paramam vichitram Leela vibhutim Paramam pavitram Baba vibhutim Paramam vichitram Leela vibhutim Paramartha ishtartha moksha pradhanam Paramartha ishtartha moksha pradhanam Baba vibhutim idamashayami Baba vibhutim idamashayami
Om Shri Sairam. Moving on to today's announcements. Swami's 97th birthday sadhana. As part of our sadhana for Swami's birthday, we will be writing Om Shri Sairam every day for 97 days leading up to Swami's 97th birthday. There is 1 month left, but you are more than welcome to engage with this for further or fewer days. But we would encourage everyone to take up this sadhana. We will collect the completed books on Swami's birthday on the 23rd of November and arranged for them to be sent over to Puttaparthi and offered at Swami's Divine Sannidhi. If anybody needs a book, please contact our spiritual coordinator, Seema Aunty. Health awareness sessions. We will be running health awareness sessions which will be conducted by the healthcare professionals within our centre. They will be providing useful information on common health conditions in order to raise awareness and encourage healthy lifestyles. The first session will take place on Sunday, the 30th of October, after the morning's programme. In this session, we will be covering the following topics: blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, and nutrition. This session is open for all, so please feel free to invite family and friends who may be interested. Upcoming events and festivals. The national birthday celebrations will be taking place on the 5th of November at the Bushi Arena. Akhand Bhajans will also be held at our centre from 6 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on Sunday, the 13th of November. We will also be participating in the 24 hours regional Akhand Bhajan programme being held at the Central London Sai Centre. The Mill Hill slot is from 10 p.m. to midnight on Saturday, the 12th of November. Ladies' Day will be celebrated on Sunday, the 20th of November from 9 a.m. onwards, and Swami's birthday will be celebrated on 2 days, the morning of the 23rd of November and Sunday, the 27th of November. This brings us to an end of our morning's program. Please collect prasadam on your way out. We pray to Swami to be with you always and bless you. Have a happy, holy, and healthy week.